How's it going everyone, and welcome to Max Efficiency Ironman Startup Guide. In this guide I'll be showing you guys the best way to start up your Ironman accounts. Now the methods that I'm going to be showing you guys will work for regular accounts, Ultimate Ironman accounts, and for Ironman accounts as well. Now what I'm going to be focusing a lot in this guide is questing. For those people that really do not like questing, I'll suggest you guys get over that and start questing, because questing will save you guys a lot of hours of gameplay. Because if you guys don't quest, you guys are going to spend too much hours of training in the beginning, which you guys could have quested. You guys could have got a ton of levels and you guys wouldn't have to do those quests later on. So the most efficient way to start off an account is by questing. So this guide is going to be pretty much a follow along guide. All you guys will have to do is simply follow along what I'm doing, and whenever we're done with everything, not only you guys will get yourself a great head start on your Ironman accounts, as well as you guys will save yourself a ton of hours of gameplay. Now before we start off with the questing grind, what I would highly suggest for you guys to do as soon as you guys make your accounts is to start off by training your agility all the way till 72. The reason why this is going to make a big deal in the future is, since your agility level is going to be pretty high, your running energy is going to restore really fast, and it's going to make skilling and questing so much more easier and much more enjoyable. Now the reason why I want you guys to go for 72 agility is because it unlocks two big shortcuts that you guys are going to use a lot to get yourself 99 Slayer. The first shortcut is going to be the Taverley dungeon. The second one is going to be the shortcuts in the Naive's Slayer Cave, which you guys are going to use a lot. As well as whenever you guys are going to be working on agility and doing the rooftop courses, you guys will be collecting marks of grace, and you guys should easily be able to save enough to buy yourself the full graceful outfit, at least by 70 agility. And the graceful outfit is so good because it restores the run energy 30% faster if you guys have the full set on. So not only guys is run energy is going to restore pretty quickly because of your pretty decent agility level, as well as it's going to restore even faster because of the full graceful outfits, which is going to make questing and skilling so much more easier. Now the reason why currently myself I don't have a full graceful outfit before I start showing you guys all the quests that you guys need to do is because this is going to be an account that I'm just using for this guide, and I'm not really planning on using it later on. One last thing before I start the guide is that since I'm going to be showing you guys on how to complete the quest, I'm just going to be speed running it with the music, and if you guys find the speed way too fast, since it's going to be times 12, simply just change the settings on YouTube and make it a little bit slower if you guys can't keep up with the speed. The first thing that we're going to start off is to get 5 thieving, which is going to be needed to steal cakes, which are going to be really useful for questing, as well as to be able to get 10k from Stronghold of Security. Now that we got 5 thieving, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to Ardoin and get ourselves a bunch of cakes. Now the easiest way to get to Ardoin without having to walk all the way there and go through the White Wolf Mountain is to simply by pulling the lever at Edgeville. Once we pull this lever over here, we're going to be teleported to the wilderness. So yes. And once we're there, all we have to do is to pull the lever again, and you guys will be teleported to Ardoin. So it's pretty much as simple as that. So let's go get some cakes. So what we're going to be aiming for is to get about 3 inventories of cakes. That should be enough to complete all the... Alright, now that we got 3 inventories of cakes, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the Stronghold of Security and claim the 10k that we need to buy a bunch of runes to start questing. Now that we got ourselves the 10k, let's go buy ourselves a bunch of... First of all, buy yourself an air staff from Zaf over here. Next we're going to go to Aubrey's shop and buy the runes that I buy. So this should be roughly all the runes that you guys need. Get yourself about 500 mine runes, a bunch of fire runes, some earth runes, and some water runes. Now the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting off on the first quest, and that quest is going to be Fight Arena, which is actually a really easy quest if we say spot it. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be teleporting to Castle Wars. Once we arrive to Castle Wars, what we're going to do is we're going to go to this area over here, and the quest is started right at this point. Now before you guys go there, make sure you guys have at least 5 GP that will be needed for the quest, and just simply follow along what I'm doing right now and you guys will easily complete the quest. so I've killed all the monsters that I need to do. You guys don't have to kill the general Khazard. Alright, so there we go. So let's see all the levels that I got. So I went from 12 thieving all the way till 20 thieving, and from 1 attack all the way till 20 an attack. Now the next quest that we're going to start doing is going to be the Tree Gnome Village. Now for the Tree Gnome Village quest, all we need to get is 6 logs. What you guys can do is you guys can either go to the North Arden Bank and get yourself a hatchet that we had, chop the logs, and then we're going to come back to this area over here to start the quest. Once you guys arrive to the maze, follow along what I'm doing and you guys will complete the quest. Now this part of here is actually, I believe, random for everyone, so don't expect to get the same answer that I got for the first one. Just try out all the 4 options and you will get it. And there we go, the Tree Gnome Village quest has been completed. So we went from 29 attack all the way to 35. So this quest as well as the Fighter Rune quest were really short, and we got from 1 to 35 attack, which is really nice. Now keep in mind that whenever I was killing the warlords, I did not really save spot it correctly. The way that I should have probably done it if I didn't really feel like just doing it solo, trying to I guess follow the Ironman rules, doing everything by yourself, is if you guys have a second account, you guys can just simply position it in front of you and just pretty much save spot the warlords over that. Now the next quest that we can do that's not too far away from here is going to be the Waterfall Quest, and the Waterfall Quest gives a lot of attack and strength experience, which is going to get us a ton of levels. But before we start that, we must get ourselves at least 15 HP to not get KO'd by the moss giants during the quest, because they can hit up to 14s with magic attacks, and actually they hit it pretty often. So just to not get KO'd, we're going to get at least 15 HP, and the easiest way to do that is to do the Witch's House quest, which gives us 6,200 hit points experience, which is probably going to boost us to at least 20 HP, which is going to be a really nice amount of HP to start doing the Waterfall Quest. Now before we start the Witch's House quest, what we need to do is to get ourselves a pair of leather gloves, which can be obtained at the clothes shop from Teresa, I believe, at Varrock, which is going to be located west of the general store. And the second thing that we need to get is going to be a few pieces of cheese, which can be obtained at the Drainer Village right over here inside this house. So there's a spawn in here. And once you guys get one cheese, just wait for the second one, and then we can start the Witch's House quest. Now while we're in Drainer, what we're going to do is we're going to start another quest, which is going to be the Vampire Slayer quest. The reason why we didn't do it earlier is because we needed at least 13 magic to be able to at least stand a chance to get some, because he does hit a lot and he does regenerate quickly. So just talk to this guy to start the quest. Now after you talk to him, go upstairs and get yourself a garlic, which we'll need for the Vampire Slayer quest. Once you guys got yourself that garlic, next come to Varrock, and what we're going to do is we're going to buy ourselves a hammer that we're going to need for the quest. You guys can just buy that from the shopkeeper over here. Alright, so there we go, there's a hammer, and then right across the street over here there's going to be the shop where you guys can buy the glove. Next we're going to go to the pub, which is going to be located right over here. Once you arrive to the pub, speak to this guy, which is going to be Dr. Harlow. And once you guys talk to him about the vampire and tell him that Morgan needs your help, once you talk to him, he's gonna ask you for a beer. So I bought just a few. I think you need 1 or maybe 2, I'm not too sure. So just give him a beer, and you're just going to keep talking with him, and then he's going to give you the steak, which is actually what we need to complete the vampire quest. Now that we got everything that we need to complete the Witch's House quest as well as the Vampire quest, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to first head back to Drainer and complete the Vampire Slayer quest, and then we're going to go west from that and we're going to complete the Witch's House. And And there we go, there's the Vampire Slayer quest completed, which gave us 4,825 attack experience. So let's see what we got. So we went from 35 attack all the way till 37, so the Witch's House quest has been completed and went up all the way till 25 HP, which is a ton of HP levels for such an easy quest. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back to the waterfall place. Waterfall Quest has now been completed and we got all the way till 41 attack, as well as 1 through 30 strength. Now the next quest that we're going to be starting to work on is going to be the Holy Grail quest, which gives us 11k prayer XP, which is going to give us a ton of prayer levels, as well as 15.3k defense experience. Before we start the quest, we must complete the Merlins Crystal quest, and for that quest what we need to do before we start the quest is going to be to get ourselves a loaf of bread, as well as we need to get ourselves bad bones, tinderbox, and a bucket. Holy Grail quest has now been completed and we got ourselves 11k prayer XP as well as 15k defense XP, so let's see all the levels that we get. So first of all, we'll get all the way to... Now the next quest that we're going to start working towards is going to be the Recruitment Drive quest, which is a really quick quest, but before we do that we're going to need to do 2 prerequisite quests. The first one is going to be the Drudic Ritual quest as well as the Black Knight Fortress, so all of these quests are really quick. Now the main reason why we're going to be doing the Recruitment Drive quest is to not get ourselves a bunch of melee experience, because it does not get any melee experience. The only thing that it gives is prayer experience, herbal experience, and agility experience. And that's what we're going to need to kick off some other quests, which are going to be the skilling quest, as soon as we're done with the combat related quest. Now before we start the Drudic Ritual quest as well as the Black Knight's Fortress, which are going to be requirements for the Recruitment Drive quest, we're going to need to get some materials for the quest. First of all, for the Drudic Ritual quest, we're going to need to get 4 different meats, and those meats are going to be raw rat meat, raw bear meat, raw chicken, and raw beef, which can almost all be obtained at Lumbridge. Now for the second quest, which is going to be the Black Knight's Fortress, we're going to need some other materials. First of all, we're going to need a bronze med helm, iron chain body, and a cabbage. And make sure that cabbage is not from the Drainer Manor place, or else it's not going to work. Now since we're running past the Varrock Museum, what we're going to do is just climb down like I did and do the minigame over here, which is going to involve you answering questions all over the place. As soon as you're done, you guys will get 1 through 9 Slayer as well as 1 through 9 Hunter, which is a quick way to start off those levels, so let's do that. That's all the questions that we needed to answer. As soon as you guys answer all the questions, come back to this guy over here and he's going to reward you with the experience. So there we go guys, we got ourselves 1 through 9 Slayer as well as 1 through 9 Hunter, so let's... Recruitment Drive quest has now been completed when we got ourselves 1000 prayer experience, 1000 Harmler experience, and 1000 agility experience. So let's see all the levels that we get. Alright, so that's going to be it for all the combat related quests for now. Now the first killing quest that we're going to start working on right now is going to be the Gertrudes Cat Quest, which gives us a nice amount of cooking experience that we need for some other quests later on. So what we need for this quest is we need to get ourselves a bucket of milk, 100 coins. We also need to get ourselves some doggo leaves, which can be found right next to the quest starts, as well as we need to get ourselves a raw sardine, which we can get from Port Serum Fishing Shop. So let's get all these items and let's start the quest. Before we start getting the materials that we need for the Gertrudes Cat Quest, let's quickly start another quest, which is going to be the Night Sword Quest. Once we do that, let's go get ourselves some supplies. Gertrude's Cat Quest has now been completed. Let's see all the levels that we got. Alright, so we went from 1 to 12 cooking. Nice. Now while we're in Varrock, what we're going to do is we're going to get ourselves some red berries that we'll need for the Night Sword Quest later on. So let's go grab those. And the next quest that we're going to start working on is going to be the Monk's Friend Quest. Another thing that we're going to do before we head out to Ardoin is we're going to stop by the library and we're going to talk to Reldo, which we'll need to do for one of the steps of the Night Sword Quest. So let's do that and then we're going to go head back to Ardoin. Now once we arrive to Ardoin, the next thing that we're going to do before we continue with the Monk's Friend Quest is we're going to stop by the Edsman's house and we're going to start the Plague City Quest. From this quest we're going to get ourselves a nice amount of mining XP, which we'll need to be able to complete the Night Sword Quest. Another quest completed, and we also got ourselves 8 law runes and 2000 woodcutting XP, which should get us to 14 woodcutting, so that's actually pretty nice. Now that the Monk's Friends Quest has been completed, the next quest that we're going to start doing is going to be the Plague City Quest for some mining experience. Now the items that we need for this quest is going to be 4 buckets of water, a rope, chocolate dust, bucket of milk, 12 berries, spade, and some snake grass. So just follow along what I'm doing, get the items, and we're going to start the quest. Quake City quest has now been completed, and we got ourselves a ton of mining XP which we'll need to get ourselves some blurite ore, so let's see the level that we got. So we went all the way till 15 mining, so which means that we can also do the Dorics Quest, which would give us a little bit of mining XP as well. Now that we got ourselves some mining levels, let's go start getting the materials for the Dorics Quest as well as to finish. The Night Sword quest has also now been finished, and we managed to get ourselves a ton of smithing XP, which should get us to at least 29 smithing. So there we go guys, 1 to 1. Now that we completed some quests, what we're going to do is we're going to come back to the Varrock Museum, and when you're here, climb the stairs over here and talk to this guy over here, and he should give you guys at least 1 experience lamp reward. Now that we got ourselves the antique lamp, the skill that we're going to be using it on is going to be thieving, because we're going to be needing at least 25 thieving for the Digsite Quest, which is going to give us a lot of mining XP, so let's use that. Alright, so we got ourselves 1k XP, which is not too bad, just gave us about a level and a half, I believe. So yeah, almost 2 levels right here, so just 1 XP. Before we start the Church Trap quest, what we're going to need to do is to get at least 10 fletching. Now the easiest way to do that from level 1 is going to be to go to Lumbridge and just pick up the logs that spawn on the top of the Lumbridge castle. Once you guys pick up 4, just keep hopping worlds, and as soon as you guys get 10 fletching, we're going to start the Church Trap quest. Tourist Trap quest is almost complete. Before we complete the quest, we must choose 2 things that we're going to train our skills in. There's 4 choices. There's fletching, agility, smithing, and thieving. Now if you guys one of those people that actually trained your agility, like I mentioned to you guys before starting to questing, I would not recommend for you guys to get XP in agility, of course, because it's going to be a waste. So what we need to get is at least 25 thieving to be able to start the Digsite quest. So first of all, we're going to pick that, which is going to get us 27. Now for the second option that you guys can claim your skills in, be sure to pick it for agility, because we need at least 10 agility to start the Digsite quest, and I accidentally ran out got fletching instead because I completely forgot that I need 10 agility, so I'm going to have to go and get myself one of those levels. So make sure you guys don't make that mistake. Use the XP first on thieving to get 25 thieving, and then use the second XP on agility. As soon as you guys have that, we're going to start the Digsite quest. Now before we start the Digsite quest, we're going to need to get some items. Those items are going to be cup of tea, pestle and mortar, which we can get at Taverley. Now the easiest way to get to Taverley is going to be by banking your items, then dying, and you guys will respawn at Valador since we completed the recruitment drive. So from now on your spawn is going to be at Valador, which is pretty good. Now we also need to get 2 ropes, which is easy to get, a vial, tinderbox. Now the harder items that are going to get is either uncut opal or cut opal, which is pretty much the same thing except it's just cuts, as well as we need to get a charcoal, and I believe we can get both of those items during the quest, as well as we need leather gloves and leather boots, which you can bought at the Varrock clothes shop. So let's start getting all these items and we'll start doing the quest. And that is the last quest that we needed to complete for now. We got ourselves 15k mining XP and 2k herbal XP, which is really nice. Now what I would suggest for you guys to do is to keep on skilling and keep on questing as much as you guys can. That way you guys will get a ton of XP earlier on. These quests are going to be one of the earliest quests to check. Now that we completed this quest, let's see all the levels that we get. Alright, so we went all the way to 33 mining from level 19 or whatever level that we had, which is a huge jump, as well as from 10 to 17 herbler. Now some of you guys might be thinking right now, since I did all of these quests, what should I do next and what should I start working on? If you guys did not get yourself 72 agility like I mentioned in the beginning and full graceful outfits, I would highly suggest that you guys start working on that now and get that out of the way as soon as possible, because it's going to help you guys a lot with skilling, as well as unlock a lot of shortcuts which are going to be really useful for later on. After you guys are done with the agility grind, the next thing that you guys should do is to go to lava dragons. Lava dragons are going to be amazing for pair experience, as well as it's going to be pretty good for mage XP, and you guys might get lucky enough and get yourself a draconic visage, which will be really nice. Now you guys should stay there at least till 43 prayer, and you guys will also should be able to get 55 mage whenever you guys get 43 prayer. And after that, what I would suggest for you guys to do is to start working on Hunter all the way till 83, which is the minimum level. If you guys want to keep on going after that and get yourself more chins that you guys can use to get yourself a high range level, but if you guys don't want to go past that, simply stop at 83 and start doing Pura for a glory amulet, as well as you guys can make some money there by alching other items as well, and you guys can get things like mystic robes and a bunch of other things that you guys can use. And that's all the tips that I have for you guys on how to efficiently start your Ironman accounts. Now if you guys did enjoy this video and it helped you out, be sure to support me by sharing this video with a friend. Before I end this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask hints and see how long it took us to get 366 total levels, so let's check it out. So the total amount of time that it took us is roughly almost 13 hours. Now we're going to subtract about 1 hour because I had to re-record a bunch of clips. So let's say on average it took us about like 12 hours. It's also going to depend on how fast you guys are at questing. Since I was recording, it took me way much longer to do it. So maybe you guys can even do it in roughly about like 10 hours if you guys are quick. Aside from that, huge thanks for watching guys, and best of luck on your adventures.